When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them.
Have you heard the rumor that Barack Obama and Jennifer Aniston had an affair that ended his marriage? People that I respect, some that I even love, who may or may not watch this show.
Was Barack Obama's presidency the perfect illusion carefully crafted to hide complexities the public was never meant to see? That's the question lighting up the internet, reviving old whispers with a new sense of urgency. And no one stoked the fire quite like Katt Williams. In one of his now viral routines, Williams didn't just crack jokes, he took a sledgehammer to the polished image of America's first black president. While many celebrated Obama's charisma and composure, Katt veered sharply off script, calling him a white, friendly black man. A curated product designed to fit the mainstream palette, not the streets he claimed to represent. It was comedy. Sure, but it was also a declaration. And if Katt's delivery made people laugh, his message made them think. Was the Obama we saw a symbol of progress, or a perfectly manufactured brand?
And that's the thing is, so the Bidens and the Obama hate each other because Michelle Obama is very good friends with Hunter Biden's ex-wife. So that's led to a significant problem where they don't like Hunter, and if you don't like Hunter, Joe doesn't like you. So I would not be surprised if Holmes is right on with this of like, oh, well, why don't we do this?
It's like, oh man, you give us problems, maybe you can.
But Katt didn't stop there. He hinted at something deeper. Call it cultural engineering. Williams made it clear he believed Obama's presidency, for all its historic inspiration, was less about sparking true change and more about ensuring compliance. And now, years later, those words don't land like throwaway punchlines anymore. They feel like warning signs we missed. Because as America wrestles with the social aftermath of the Obama era, one debate has erupted like a volcano: the push for LGBTQ mentors in schools. And what that push really reveals about the priorities shaped under Obama's leadership.
Not been funded. They pay you to not talk about things they don't want you to talk about. They tell you that themselves.
It's not a stretch to connect the dots. For years, critics accused Obama of advancing what they called a pro-homosexuality agenda, a loaded phrase, but one that kept echoing through conservative media during his presidency. Under his administration, LGBTQ visibility skyrocketed, from rainbow-lit White House photo ops to sweeping federal protections that, depending on who you ask, were either long overdue or ideologically extreme. Fast forward to today's classrooms, and the question has shifted. It's no longer whether kids should learn about diversity, it's whether they should be mentored by adults specifically chosen for their LGBTQ identity. To some, it's inclusion. To others, it's indoctrination. Was this cultural momentum a natural evolution, or a deliberate recalibration engineered years ago? Then, like gasoline on an open flame, came the most infamous street interview of Joan Rivers' career. Just weeks before undergoing a routine throat procedure that spiraled into tragedy, Rivers dropped a bomb she claimed was an open secret. "We already have a homosexual president," she told a reporter without blinking. "You know, Michelle is a transgender." The reaction, pandemonium. Some rolled their eyes. Others clutched their pearls. But a quiet minority leaned in. Rivers didn't stutter, she didn't hedge. And when pressed to clarify, she doubled down with eerie calm. A transgender. We all know. What exactly did she mean by we all know, and why was she so confident saying it out loud?
I mean, there's, not to add insult to injury, but there's a Daily Mail report out today saying Kamala Harris's marriage may be on the rocks. Like everybody's on the rocks. Again, I will say I love the Daily Mail, but the sourcing appeared weak. It was like people who know the couple, but like, I don't know if it's any better than that. But they're saying she's blaming him in part for her loss because he turned out to be such a hot mess liability. You buy it?
Let's be clear, Joan Rivers was no stranger to controversy. She roasted everyone, offended nearly every group at least once, and wore her bans from TV networks like badges of honor. But even for her, this was a different level. These weren't jokes about bad fashion choices or botched lip jobs. These were accusations aimed straight at the heart of the Obama's carefully crafted image. And less than 2 months later, she was gone. Not from illness, not from anything expected, from a routine medical procedure that went catastrophically wrong. As later investigations revealed, her vitals dropped, her oxygen levels plummeted. No one acted quickly enough. Coincidence? That's one theory. The other is far darker. Online sleuths pounced. Conspiracy theorists framed it as an assassination by neglect, arguing that Rivers had revealed something she wasn't supposed to, and someone made sure she'd never say more. Adding fuel to the fire, the procedure was reportedly unauthorized, and the clinic later admitted fault in a malpractice settlement with her daughter, Melissa. Officially, the Obamas were never linked to her death. In fact, President Obama even sent Melissa a handwritten condolence letter, praising Rivers for her humor and intellect. But to some, that public grace wasn't just kindness, it was calculated. Was it simple diplomacy or quiet damage control?
Oh, but if it is true, it truly would be a political earthquake in
Yes.
Democrat circles. Never mind America. I don't remember a presidential divorce in modern history.
And let's not forget Trivers wasn't the only one making noise. A resurfaced interview with Larry Sinclair, a convicted con man with a paper trail full of lies and accusations, reignited one of the strangest and most salacious rumors tied to Obama's past. Sinclair claims that in the late 1990s, he met Obama in a bar, shared a substance that rhymes with Cain, and ended up in a hotel room for an encounter that was anything but platonic. Credible, not in a courtroom, but in the court of public curiosity. That's another story. The timing of his reappearance was no accident. Tucker Carlson gave him airtime. Online threads lit up, and suddenly, Joan Rivers' infamous comments were being replayed with a different kind of attention. Whether you buy into these claims or dismiss them as opportunistic fiction, one thing is certain: the smoke hasn't cleared, and it's that lingering haze that keeps the fire burning. Because at this point, the conversation isn't just about who Obama was, it's about the legacy he left behind. The LGBTQ mentorship push in today's schools, for instance.
Spend a minute on the Obamas, because there seems to be some momentum picking up in the rumor mill about their marriage. All right, I'm going to bring you what I know.
And then came the whispers, the kind that start in comment sections and end up on talk radio. That Barack and Michelle aren't really a couple anymore. That they live separate lives. That Michelle skipped Trump's inauguration and Jimmy Carter's funeral, not out of scheduling conflicts, but because she allegedly couldn't fake it any longer. But here's where the rumor mill gets dangerous. When those scattered dots start connecting themselves. When Joan Rivers' final interview stops looking like a throwaway gag and starts reading like a confession. When people stop asking if the Obamas are hiding something and start wondering just how deep that something goes. Because the internet's obsession isn't just with what Joan said, it's with how she said it.com casual, like it was common knowledge the public had chosen not to see. And when pressed to explain, she didn't hedge. It's okay, she said. It's not a bad thing. Then she walked away. No smirk, no wink, just a mic drop. Weeks later, she was gone. And that's where the questions sharpen into suspicion. Could Joan Rivers' untimely death mere weeks after her most explosive on-camera moment truly be more than a tragic mishap? What exactly did she...
So the truth about Jen and Barack is that there is no truth.
There is
It
no
untrue.
truth.
You know Barack Obama.
I've met him once.
Met him once.
I know Michelle more than him.
What is there a truth about you and Michelle? That we should know.
That is not true.
But things only got stranger when we dug deeper into Joan Rivers' final hours. Federal health officials later confirmed the clinic where she underwent her procedure wasn't just unprepared for complications. It had bypassed multiple safety protocols. The anesthetic dosage, reportedly higher than it should have been. Her vitals dropping for several minutes before anyone acted. And then, the most baffling detail, doctors allegedly began a procedure she hadn't even consented to. In writing, this wasn't some backroom operation in a forgotten strip mall. This was one of the most famous women in the world, in a New York City facility. Surrounded by trained professionals, and somehow, they missed every red flag. So how likely is it that a globally recognized figure simply slips away due to a series of avoidable mistakes, weeks after making controversial remarks about the most protected couple in American politics? Maybe we're connecting dots that don't exist. But maybe we aren't. Because when someone as loud, brash, and fearless as Joan Rivers suddenly goes silent under such murky circumstances, it's hard not to ask, did her mouth cost her more than a career? And what else was she planning to say? She'd already called Obama our first homosexual president and declared on camera that Michelle is a transgender. We all know, not believe, not speculate. No, and then silence. Permanent. The unanswered.
Is not sorry. They are looking for it. All the women in your life are
All
looking
women in
for
my
it.
life are looking forward to being able to live a more normal life.
Yeah, but still not entirely normal. Obviously, everybody's under the microscope at all times. And you're staying in Washington, D.C., which is unusual for an exiting president.
But this isn't just about Joan Rivers. The rabbit hole runs deeper, right into the bright glare of Hollywood's biggest spotlights. Because if Obama wasn't just a political figure, but a cultural architect, then the real stage for his influence may not have been the White House at all, it was the entertainment industry. Over the years, we've watched film and television undergo a rapid, almost surgical transformation. Stories once considered niche exploded into mainstream dominance. Inclusion wasn't simply encouraged, it became non-negotiable. And while the message was dressed in sequins and wrapped in rainbows, a growing number of insiders now quietly wonder, was this cultural wave truly organic, or was it carefully choreographed? And that's when a name no one expected started surfacing: Jennifer Aniston. On paper, it made zero sense. Yet tabloids jumped on whispers of Obama and Aniston sharing more than just creative interests. A "check out Hal" headline turned into late-night punchlines, which eventually forced a response from Aniston herself. Absolutely untrue. She told Jimmy Kimmel before adding, almost casually, that she's only met him once and actually knows Michelle better. A clean denial, but not one that erased the static. Because even with her statement on record, the rumors didn't vanish. They mutated, shifting the conversation from whether Aniston and Obama were linked to a much bigger, more dangerous question. If Obama could move seamlessly between politics and pop culture, how much of Hollywood's cultural shift was coincidence and how much was by design?
For instance, like this is a magazine that came out a couple of weeks ago. It said the truth about Jen and Barack. So that
That's kind of, that was.
But what if their alleged connection wasn't romantic at all? What if it was strategic? Barack Obama's post-presidency has been anything but quiet. Through Higher Ground Productions, his media company, he's inked blockbuster deals with streaming giants, launched documentaries, and placed himself at the very center of the content machine. Jennifer Aniston, with her Apple TV clout, her decades of public goodwill, and that carefully curated America's Every Woman image, fits the mold of a celebrity with influence, credibility, and reach. Is it really so far-fetched to imagine pairing two of the most trusted figures in public life, one political, one cultural, not for romance, but as a subtle mechanism for shaping thought? If public trust is currency, Obama and Aniston are the gold standard. And if narratives can mold votes, values, and identities, who better to deliver them than Hollywood's inner circle? And here's where it gets uncomfortable. If the White House years were Act 1, Hollywood could very well be Act 2. Not policy through politics, but persuasion through storytelling. A generation raised on Netflix, Hulu, and binge-worthy prestige TV might never notice how seamlessly political ideals are woven into their favorite shows. So was it coincidence that progressive themes flooded primetime just as Obama stepped off the political stage and into the media world? Or had those values always been part of the plan, waiting patiently for the right producers, the right platforms, and the right faces to bring them to life?